Hi guys, welcome back to Spellbound Sourdough. Today I'm going to show you how to make buttermilk, butter, brown sugar, cinnamon butter, and whipped cream. Now it all starts off with the heavy cream, and this is the main ingredient in all of these items. Now butter is probably a lot simpler than you think it is to make, and I actually love making homemade butter because I can add things to it like brown sugar and cinnamon. So first off, we're going to start with the heavy cream. We're going to pour that into the mixer, and we're going to turn the mixer on medium to medium high. Really, it doesn't honestly matter what speed you put it on, because the lower the speed, it's just going to take a little bit longer to make what you're trying to make. If you're wanting to make whipped cream, at this step, you'll want to go ahead and add some granulated sugar. Honestly, the sugar is added to taste, so add as much as you'd like or as little as you'd like. I prefer my whipped cream to not be super sweet, so I don't add too much sugar to mine. If you're making whipped cream, this is where you'll go ahead and stop, because this is the texture that you want to be at for whipped cream. If you continue beating this heavy cream, it will turn into butter. So if you don't want butter, go ahead and stop here and just go ahead and stick this into a container, and you can store it in your fridge, and it makes the best whipped cream. I love this with some strawberries. It's heavenly. Just a reminder, you'll want to go ahead and scrape down the bowl while you're mixing this heavy cream, because you want to make sure that none of that cream gets stuck on the side, that it's all kind of like fully incorporating as it's beating. So you'll notice that there is some like whipped cream on the sides. I just go ahead and scrape it down into the bottom. You don't have to be super, particular with this step. Just make sure that you're every once in a while just pushing it down to the bottom. Now, as you can see, the heavy cream has turned a yellowish tone, and it is starting to separate. Once it starts separating, you'll see the buttermilk at the bottom and the butter is starting to come together. I usually turn my mixer down, because if you don't, you'll have a splashing mess. So make sure that you pay attention to the mixer and you don't just like walk away for long periods of time, because you may come back to a complete mess. So once you strain the buttermilk from the butter, you now have buttermilk. So you can go ahead and store this in a container in your fridge. And I love using this for biscuits, but honestly, it's really good for anything that calls for milk that you're wanting more of like an acidic, buttery feel. I like to just substitute it. Now this is probably the messiest part of making butter, and one of my least favorite parts of making butter, but honestly it's not that bad. So you just go ahead and toss the butter into an ice bath. People do this all different ways, but honestly this is just how I do it. I stick it in my sink, I pour some cold water over it, and I kind of just like mush it into a ball so that it's all together. And I also want to kind of smush out all of that residual buttermilk that's still in the butter pieces. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm kind of just rinsing the butter. If you don't rinse your butter good enough, the butter will go bad faster. So that is one reason why you want to clean the butter, because the butter will just go bad. You'll notice you stick it in the fridge and a couple days later it just does not smell good. So your butter will go bad. I have experienced that. Just make sure that you clean your butter really well. I am also going to be using a like a tea towel, a flour sack towel that I normally use for my sourdough. I'm going to be using that to kind of strain the remaining buttermilk out. So here is the tea towel. I'm just going to grab the butter, stick it in there, and I'm just going to give it a good strain. So this is your butter. This is the final product for the butter. And if you wanted to add some salt, I would just go ahead and sprinkle it on the top at this point, like when I stick it in the parchment paper. Now I'm planning on using this butter today, so I'm not really concerned about storing it very tightly in this parchment paper. I'm just gonna loosely wrap it and I'm gonna pop it in my fridge and probably use it by tonight for dinner. So if you wanted to seal it a little bit better, you could definitely do that, or you could just stick it in some parchment and put it in a Ziploc. That would be helpful as well. And so now if you're wanting to make the brown sugar cinnamon butter, I just popped the other half into the microwave for about 10 seconds just to warm it up a little bit. You'll notice that it's really not that warm, but I just wanted enough so that I could kind of get this mixture going. What am I trying to say? I don't know. I just wanted it to be able to cream, basically is what I'm saying. So when I cream stuff, I get a little aggressive. I'm just like banging it around. I am getting all of the brown sugar and cinnamon into it. I just poured brown sugar and cinnamon. I eyeballed it. I don't really measure it. You can add as much or as little as you'd like. You can start off with a little bit and just taste test it and add some more, but it's essentially brown sugar and cinnamon. That's it. I'm just adding it and I'm whipping it up so that it's this nice whipped consistency. And once it's done whipping, I'll go ahead and put it in my container. So good, guys. Like, this is not even gonna last for dinner. We are going to demolish this. I probably should have made more. If you have any questions about anything I made or how to make butter, whipped cream, whatever, just leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them.